contribution. Right now we want to talk to a panelist on this issue, first of all, that was raised, the political class taking hostage. Yeah, it's sort of a state capture that we have with the political class in this country. Dynasty after dynasty, you know, rolling back. So passing the baton, it will be this family, it will be that family. And Kenyans are in between it. It seems we are very unhelpful on how we can take away or try and break this Gordian knot once and for all. That the voice belongs to the people, not the elitist, not the business class in this country, not particular community in this country. Why is it that we're caught up in this bubble and we are suffocating as a country and we can't break out, PLO?
You know, Cohesion has written a beautiful book towards genocide in Kenya, the curse of negative ethnicity. And Cohesion says that we, the people of Kenya, have allowed ourselves to be hypnotized by the politicians. They tell us that unless one from our tribe is the president, particularly the president, and now the governors, if one from our clan is not a governor, then our affairs will not be conducted properly. Frank Njenga here is my friend. I've never for 1 minute thought about Frank Njenga as a Kikuyu. Bishop Rotich, whom I've known for a long time, is a friend. Wanyoike, they are my friends. Why should it be that when it comes to the presidency, I now think that one must come from our tribe? It is us who must liberate ourselves. The politicians, and you saw what happened in 2007. After we had killed ourselves, 1,000 of us, they went and negotiated, and they took offices, and they became friends. You who are living in Taita Taveta or in Nyanza or in Muranga, you never saw the president, you never saw the prime minister. Yet they tell us that once they go there, then our tribe benefits. That is the kind of rhetoric that we should avoid. The problem is with us. We are the ones who must tell the politicians by word and deed that you are there as a privilege. The reason why we call members of parliament honorable is because we have given them the honor and privilege of serving us. That is why they are honorable. But we have allowed individuals who hold public office to behave as if they have monopoly of wisdom, as if they know everything, as if they are demigod. They are not. In civilized nations, and ours should be, you've seen it in France recently, you've seen it in the United Kingdom recently, election is just an opportunity for competition of ideas. And the better idea carries the day and is given the opportunity to serve and improve the quality of our lives in education, health, agriculture, and other things. And then we have another circle to determine whether they have performed well. But here, it is a life and death issue, because if you elect an individual in Kenya into political office, it is as if they have won a lottery. That is why they are killing each other. The opportunity to engage in industrial theft on an industrial scale. And we must now ask ourselves, we the voters, are you voting tribe, or are you voting individuals who are going to serve this country in humility?
Thank you. And this narrative, maybe it seems it's the beginning of it tapering off, because you're talking about the millennials who are coming to the fore. And looking at what happened also in the counties with the nominations as well, there's a game changer sort of a pattern when it comes to voting. People are tired. And the millennials, they are not identified, you know, by tribes and clanism. They do not even want to be associated with that. They are just millennials, people who want good governance, people who want good policies and institutions in this country. So could this be, maybe as we're heading towards the general election this year, the last time that we will ever see this sort of narrative of tribalism, ethnicity, you know, nepotism in our politics? Will they clean up the politics?
I have two things I'd like to say in answer to your question. The first one is that is my firm belief. If you look at the last Ipsos sign of it poll,
yes,
where the two leading presidential candidates had whatever numbers they got, there was one number that people have not looked at. 9% of undecided. Let me tell you this. Statistically speaking, if that 8 or 9% went one way or the other, that is the margin within which the candidates will win. And I predict that in this election, much as we are afraid that it'll be very closely contested, it probably will not be. Because the person or group of persons who persuade that group of millennials to go with them will have a completely clear win. And that will be the end of that one. So the contest for me is not in faraway places. It is very near here, and it's amongst people aged from 18 to 30 years, and that is the tribe of the future in this country, completely tribeless. That's the first thing I wanted to say. I have to say something else, and this is really bad news, really very bad news. The NASA Brigade, the Jubilee Brigade are the best of friends. When you switch off, I'm sorry, my friends, I have to say the truth. Yes, they're all my friends, I know them well.
Yes.
When the cameras are switched off and they recede to the big hotels in Nairobi and the big clubs, and the champagne and the whiskeys are pouring, they speak only one language. How idiotic you, our listeners, are, and how gullible you are. They are all, again, I go back to Moody's book, Moody Awori's book. Each and every member of Jubilee has worked closely and intimately with another member of NASA. And at different times in the last 15 years, they have been bedfellows. I will predict the following. After whoever it is that wins, the first thing that will happen is there will be a complete shambolic falling out of the losers. And when that is done, the ones who have won will also fall apart. And then close to the next election, another group will get together and call themselves somebody else, and then they will come to another election. That is the pattern. They are one group, we the Wananchi Watukufu are another group, and I am suggesting that it is time we got together and said it is us against that tribe of the privileged. Those are the only two things I wanted to say.
Bishop Rotich, you can talk to us about the Lent campaign, because I think this Lent campaign was launched this year, or was it last year? It's all about, also fostering for a peaceful general election.
Yes, I will come to it. I'll come to the Lenten, but I just want to peg this relationship and discussions we're having on, O God of all creation. In a few weeks ago, I was able to meet one of the composers of the national anthem.
Yes.
And he told us, we sat for 7 weeks, they were given 7 weeks, and they went from pace to pace, listening to what Kenyans were saying. What is it that they wanted to promote? They said, all of us are God's creation. God's creation. All these 42 communities, 42 beautiful people forms an orchestra of a choir.
Yes.
42 actually is a complete choir. Under one conductor. And therefore they said, O God of all creation. Can you see the community? That we are all under one God. And then this land, which land? The nation, that is Kenya, this land. So, and justice be our shield and defender, meaning justice is a product, peace is a product of justice, the truth. And therefore, if we all do justice to one another, then this is our shield, the only shield as a defender. And therefore, we will dwell in unity. And we need liberty. We need that plenty be found within our borders. Look at this plenty that has been referred by PLO and Njenga, that we are all one. And look at this, the youth, even the old people, we are belong to this land. Let plenty be found within us. The charism, the talents, the wisdom comes from within. And therefore, what blocks this understanding is what you were saying. We rallied around Lenten season to say, let the politicians, let all of us take time, 40 days, and renew ourselves. Let us have a metanoia. Let's have a Damascus experience, that we turn about and look at this. God, our creator, Let us look at our resources. Let us look at our politics.
Thank you.
Let us look at the social, the economy, and then turn about and say, who is going to propel that? Let's elect people of integrity. Integrity is one. It comes from one God. A nation that is one comes from one God, meaning it is indivisible. So you cannot divide this nation. 16,000 people cannot divide this nation. Look at the 39 plus people are the ones actually, and I just want to come to the flow of Jesus Christ when he was washing the disciples' feet. It has been alluded by our panelists that we need to have a servant leadership, people washing our feet. The president, the governor, the MCA, the MP, and the members of all houses are the ones who come from the high table because we have placed them there to wash our feet. They listen to us. And therefore, the Lenten campaign is a rallying point. And we began so because we are looking at harmony. If you want harmony, and St. Augustine say, it is the tranquility of harmony, peace. And therefore, for us to have a peaceful, credible election, we need to hear these voices. We need to hear the voice of God again. Because sometimes the key in the music might, a choir might go a little bit away from it. But the need is to listen. And so we rang the bell and say, look, all people of this nation, we have God as our Father, and we pray to him. Let's change our attitude and begin now to look and love one another as God loves us, and let us make peace. Because many a times we don't make peace. We talk about peace, but we don't generate. How do we generate peace? Is by discussion, dialogue, and plenty is found. Plenty, plenty. Would I add plenty?
Thank you, thank you. And we shall interrogate this particular prayer that we normally pray every day in various institutions in this country. But do we also listen to what God is saying? As much as we pray to him, is it just a monologue or is it a dialogue? We ask, oh God of all, bless this our land and nation. Justice be our shield and defender. But do we get to listen what God is saying on the other end, or we just sing it, we pray and walk away? Peace initiatives from the National Cohesion and Integration Commission. We understand also you've been training police. We know that now, as you mentioned, there are gadgets. I know also cameras. I don't know if these are candid cameras placed somewhere within. And I wonder, will you just be going about also with the rallies where the politicians are going for you to capture these particular speeches that they are giving? What action have you taken? So far, we've seen some governors as well, vitriol and inflammatory remarks stripping off their tongue, but we've not heard from the National Cohesion and Integration Commission. We know what was happening in Uasin Gishu. Clips have been on social media of war cries, but we've never seen any decisive action taken by the National Cohesion and Integration Commission.
Thank you, Debarl. Let me start with the gadgets. The gadget came about after a lot of consultation with the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. Because as you well know, we took a lot of cases to the courts. We took, and you know them, the hate speech cases. And all of them have been thrown out one by one. That the evidence that was there did not reach the threshold or the requirement.
Yes.
So we agreed, let us have our own gadgets where we go to the field, we send people there, we train them, and what they capture will be ours. So we went ahead and we were assured what we get with our own gadgets is admissible in court, because that has been our problem. Because most of the times we relied on you media people, the clips that you give us. When we take the clips to the courts, they say this is out of, I'm being quoted out of context. And so the magistrate or the judge, they ask for the whole clip, which we can't get from the media.
Have you come to the media and we've declined to give you these clips?
Yes. I can tell you for sure.
The whole footage?
Yes. We have even asked that you help us in, as you know, giving evidence in court. It has not happened. So that is how we ended up buying our own gadgets, employing over 100, actually there are over 200 monitors out in the counties. We have trained over 2,000 policemen. We have given them gadgets. Some are just very simple, like this one, where you just put it there and it records and it takes a photo. And we were assured if now we take that one to court, the evidence will be admissible. Because if they want to play the whole clip, it will be there. Right. We don't have to go to the media houses. We don't have to beg for a whole clip. So that is how we ended up with the gadgets. They are out there in the field for the last, I think, maybe a month or so. And we are getting information. But even before we take the cases to court, we are verifying what was said.
All right, a month ago, are you verifying what is happening or was happening in Uasin Gishu?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
And I can assure you, even before I forget, that on 20th, we are going to Uasin Gishu. We have a big meeting, dialogue. We are going to talk to the politicians. We are going to talk to the elders. We are going to talk to the women. We are going to talk to the youth in Uasin Gishu. From 20, for about 3 or 4 days, we will be there.
All right. But
we have actually, even earlier, talked to the governor. Sometimes we don't like going to the media. We do it because sometimes, you know, our politicians.
But what are we talking about with the governor if we have evidence already? I think the matter should be in court. Why are you holding court with the governor? You have the evidence. You say media, you know, we don't give you a full clip. Now you have your own gadgets. You've actually taken a whole footage of this. Why then have a discussion if you already have the footage?
Let me tell you, Debarl, this is electioneering period. And they are very, very sensitive issues. They are issues that need to be dealt, using alternative means. Why am I saying that? A politician will say something, and maybe that politician waits for us or for the police to arrest so that they can now mobilize and, you know, their people, and they will come out. And what can happen may be something that you cannot even control. Sometimes we are very, very careful because we know what is happening. And you know, politicians, to them is about masses. And I can tell you, we have looked at some of the utterances, even by the top political leadership. And we know that if we touch one of them, let's say in Nairobi, Nairobi will be ungovernable. Nothing will happen. And I'm talking of the top 2 political leaders in this country. We have heard them say something, and you people know it. But we have weighed and said, if we do this and someone this, I can tell you, Nairobi will be flooded with people who you cannot control, clouds you cannot control. Forget about the clouds you saw that were saying IBC must go. This would be worse. You have touched their leader, because what has happened in this country is like we have gods. They have manipulated people. The leaders we have in this country have manipulated people. We have become like slaves. Kenyans, especially those who have nothing, the jobless. It's like, this is my God and this is what. So we are actually working on the hate speech cases. But right now, we are going through on some of the issues because we know some of them are looking at, let them come and I mobilize my voters.
Thank you. Thank you. We want to hear from also our viewers as well. And Usha Jose, she's standing by to give us, you know, some of the samplings from the rush of tweets that we're having this morning. Over to you, Usha.
Right, so 30 minutes to the top of the hour, and your comments are coming in. Your prayers for Kenya are beautiful, and I will get straight to sampling it. Remember, if you haven't gotten your comment in yet, AM Live and TV is how you can get us. That is on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. So starting with Facebook, we have Masita, who says, you can never talk about peace in any election if there is no credibility of the same election. It would be like an ostrich digging his head in the sand and pretending there is no danger coming. We also have Cynthia, who says, Kenya will have peace if elections will be credible and transparent. But we can't keep quiet if things are going wrong. Moving on to Twitter, we have Michael who says, my prayer for Kenya is a peaceful, credible election and God-fearing leaders. We also have Oma who says, we need peace, yes, but what exactly is this peace? How exactly can we get peace? Give us the procedure, not the result. I think Irene had touched on this a little bit, but Irene, would you maybe just in a very short time, around 30 seconds or so, put it in point form for Oma on how to keep the peace?
That's a very good question. You know, peace is not an event. It is not an event, it is a process. So when we were given the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, we were given the mandate of promoting tolerance so that this country can be peaceful. It is a process. It is the fruit of planting a seed, and that seed germinating and bearing fruit after some time. So we do not have the magic word or the magic thing to say, there shall be peace, because we are not God. And Kenyans have a very, very important law to pray in this country, when it comes to peace. So for me, everybody is doing what they can. At the Cohesion, we are doing what we can. We have activities, we have dialogue meetings, we are talking to politicians, we are having public palazas. If you have seen in the papers maybe or in the media, we are holding public palazas. And we are reminding Kenyans every day that it is up to you. It is up to you to tell your leaders enough is enough. We do not want to fight, because we are the people on the ground. We are the ones who suffer. So I can only say, yes, peace is not an event. It is a process. It has to come also from the Kenyans themselves to know that it will be affected.
Thank you very much, Ouma. So hope you have your answer. It does start with me and you. We also have Karo who says, we must preserve this country. We need peace. Ali who says, it's not a Deep Upkeep who says, it's not a matter of surviving. Why should we go through it again and again? The system ought to have checks and processes to avoid this. We also have Ali who says, my prayer is, let us see ourselves as brothers and sisters, not as JP and Nasser, this tribe or that tribe. Indeed, very beautiful sentiments. We have Kevin who says, my prayer is that elections come and go, but Kenya remains. I need you, you need me after the elections. God bless Kenya. We also have Vinny who says, Kenya is in desperate need of purposeful leaders who are willing for the greater good. We the people have the power. And Felix who says, the process of liberation is still far. Evident is the new twist with ballot paper acquisition. Kenyans are at the center. And finally, we have Leo who says, but should that always be our best scenario? Hope to survive while our neighbors thrive. Kenyans survive. Right, so got a lot of tweets going, but in the interest of time, that is what I could read. But this conversation does go on. AM Live and TV is how you can get us, as I said. We are also streaming live on Facebook, so head on down to our Facebook page and you can watch us from there. Do keep the comments going. This is a conversation that needs to be going on, not only right now, not only during the election period, but all through, because Kenya is our country, as one of you said. You and me need each other. Back to you, Debarl.
Many thanks indeed, Usha. And of course, we're reminded what also is domiciled in the Constitution, that you have the power. We, the people, that is a preamble in the Constitution of Kenya. Let's continue with this discussion with our panelists. PLO, first of all, we will also look briefly before we went up the show on the national anthem. And truly, these prayers that we have within, if we are realizing it as a country over the years, do we have justice, right? We have plenty within our borders, but is every Kenyan enjoying the plenty that is within our borders? Where is the plenty in terms of equitable sharing? We have, they say, may we dwell in unity. Are we really dwelling in unity, right? But let's interrogate first the issue of the hate speech, because we have to address this even when you're talking about peaceful elections and credible elections, first of all, because we have a problem, as we know right now. Also, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, I think they're seeking to have an act on the hate speech. If you may just give me the exact wording of this particular act, the bill itself that you have. What is the name of the bill? Sorry?
It is an amendment.
It's an amendment.
Yeah, we would like to amend so that it is the hate speech is defined well.
Fantastic.
Because it's not defined
It is
well.
not defined well. That's where we have issues. First of all, evidence. Then when you go to court again, you have the evidence, then we can't have an unclear definition on what hate speech is.
Debarl, let me just advert to something that somebody has said
Yes.
on Twitter.
Yes.
We cannot have peace unless we have credible elections. You know, one of the things that worries me, some Kenyans hold the view that the elections are only credible if their candidate wins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that if their candidate does not win, then the elections are not credible.
Yes.
That cannot be the truth. And that is why I've said before, and I say it now, I want to hear from President Kenyatta. To his credit, he has said that if he loses the elections credibly, he will leave office. I want to hear unequivocally from Honorable Raila Odinga that if he loses the elections credibly, he will concede. I want to hear from Ekuru Aukot and Dida and all the other candidates that if they lose credibly, they will concede defeat. So that there should be, the leading candidates are Honorable Raila Odinga and His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. I'm telling them, write 2 speeches. Speech number 1, in the event of victory. Speech number 2, in the event of defeat. And tell your followers or the voters who support you that the elections can be credible even when you lose. What we are saying, let us have a system that is verifiable, that the votes that are cast are the votes that are counted, and the one who has the majority of the votes and meets the other constitutional threshold is declared the winner. And these individuals who are on Twitter, we should also tell them.
Yes.
Some of them hide behind the mask of anonymity. And they say many things. This country will not be governed from the Twitter. This country must not be governed from Facebook or Instagram or any other medium. This country will be governed by men and women who love her, and before they send their tweets, they read it again and again. And they ask themselves, should this go into the public domain? This finger-happy Twitterers must also remember that this country is a young country which is fragile. Which brings me to hate speech for 1 minute and the press. You, the press, are also sometimes a part of the problem, not a part of the solution. Some of the headlines that you have, Luhyas are happy, Kambas are unhappy. Where did you take the poll of Luhyas and Kambas? Simply because somebody of Kamba extraction who is a politician says it, then Kambas are involved? Let us de-ethnicize our headline. In Rwanda, President Kagame is very clear. You don't talk Hutu, you don't talk Tutsi, you talk Rwanda. And that is what we should do. Let's talk Kenya, let's not talk Kikuyu. When we have our cultural activities at Mukuruwe Nyagadhanga, the Kikuyu can talk about Kikuyu. When we have that, the people of Luo can talk about in Ramogi, and of course the Kalenjin and everybody else. And the last thing I want to say to the Cohesion Commission, don't be afraid. The politicians now know that you are scared of them. And because they know that, they think they are untouchable. One of these days, touch one of them and take them to court, and the courts also should deny them bail within 1 day. Let me tell you, it will be a game changer. Yesterday, or the day before yesterday, a member of parliament, this is unrelated but important, came out and said, the MP for Sirisia, that I took a bribe in order to make decisions in a parliamentary committee. That I always take bribe. Who can refuse money except God? I wish that ESCC should have arrested that individual and asked him to give evidence on which other members take bribes. And that is the way we are going to kill the culture of impunity. The politicians know that there is nothing that is going to happen. You go to funerals, and I go to a number of them in my rural home. Listen to what they say in mother tongue. Terrible. So going forward, we must take the bull by the horn. We must be discerning. His Grace is here. I've always said there are 2 ways of addressing issues. You can be in the rooftops like John the Baptist and make the noise, or you can be stealth like Nathan telling David. But it is the circumstances that define whether you are John the Baptist in the public agora or you are Nathan in the safety of the room.
All right, let us hear from Dr. Ari.
I would like to build on to what PLO has said. And PLO has been unapologetic in naming names. President Kenyatta, Honorable Raila Odinga, their running mates, and so on. It may come as a surprise to Kenyans, but none of us here is standing for political positions. We don't want those political positions. But we have a constituency of the silent majority, not because they have elected us, but because we believe that we are Kenyans who have reached a particular age and have a particular interest in this republic. And that is why we can come here and talk in a leadership forum like this. This is what I would like to say. And this is a build-up on what PLO is saying. It is time that our political players, I don't know if they are leaders, but political players were called to account. They are the contestants, not Mama Boga, not PLO, not the good bishop, not me. They are the ones whose lives will change on the 8th of August. Mine will not change. When things go right, I would like us to celebrate President Kenyatta, Honorable Raila, and all the people that they are working with. And I'd love to do that. If, God forbid, things go wrong, I would like President Kenyatta, Honorable Raila Odinga, and those people that are working for political positions to accept personal responsibility for the mayhem and the chaos they have caused, because they are the players, not us, in bringing us to that point. And that is where I believe Kenyans, we need to be going towards, particularly the church. It is you, President Kenyatta, it is you, Honorable Odinga, as individuals who want to become presidents, not us. The consequence of a credible elections, you can accept that credit. If things go wrong, we will hold the two of you individually responsible for the outcome. The truth is, and this is the sad truth, I know that those two, and all the other presidential candidates, are fathers, are mothers, well, there's no mother, are parents, are grandparents in some instances, and they truly, deeply care for this, our republic. What we see in the media is theatrics. My plea to my brothers is to tone down the theatrics and let us converse in the way that we do when we meet one-on-one, because there is far too much at stake. Finally, if things go well, accept the credit. If things don't go well, you are responsible. That's it.
Thank you. All right. Let's hear from Bishop. And of course, we have also callers hanging on the line. We'll be coming to you momentarily, Bishop.
I like to use what PLO and Dr. Ari has mentioned about the quiet moments when Nathan can do one-on-one, and where John the Baptist can climb the rooftops and say, as a prophetic voice, look at our politicians. How do we curb hate speech? Curbing hate speech is not when they are now talking, but in the preparation, in their camera, in their studio, where they go through self-introspection and say, I'm going to meet the people today, and I need to mentor them, not for today, but for tomorrow. We need to see role models, the way they speak, the way they use their word, because it is a matter of wit, and that is wisdom is required. As yet, I have not seen any orators around. I have not seen anybody. We have mentioned our president of Nyerere, who was in Tanzania. Martin Luther, and you can see PLO is trying very much to emulate, because he has seen role models. Indeed, even this country has orators, but we have not had time to train them so that they can come out as role models. Because oration is about building confidence. It's about carrying the masses without abusing them. It's about using that as a facility to train and put like the siege here now to bring from point A to B,
yes,
so that people can consume the commodity that you have, and that is peacemaking. So we need now, as Dr. mentioned, we need to enter into what we call one-on-one, and also sound a clarion call on the people who accompany our politicians on a daily basis. Be they friends, brothers, sisters, or even the managers of politics, of their political theatrics. Let them house sobriety. Being calm is not a weakness. To be calm is that you need to send a message so that you punctuate those moments with peace. And therefore you generate peace. And what goes out there, people will discern and say, at least he was telling us a truth by using a proverb or a parable. And that was a school of Jesus Christ. He trained the 12 by telling them, don't love your enemy. If somebody hits you, use a term that would bring the enemy to your court. And that is oration. That is wisdom. So we can curb by training. And I think this is our moment. This is a moment for this voice to be heard. And I pray that the media, as NICC will go to Wasingishu or wherever, bring these voices around and let us have what you call a studio behind the cameras where Nathan will be able to say, watch your tongue, watch your eyes, listen to the people. And then at the end of the day, we come back, what we call check-in, check-out, before they go to the podium. Because we don't need to spoil, because they are gifted people. These are Kenyans. These are men and women. They want to votes from us.
Thank you.
How do they do it? Not to misuse the opportunity.
Thank you, Bishop. We have callers hanging on the line, and we have Tete on the line. Good morning, Tete.
Morning to you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. You have a contribution or a question for a panelist?
Yes, I do have a contribution.
Yes.
First of all, I'd like to correct this perception that the father has just said about politicians, enemies. These people are not enemies at all. These people, they sit, they dine and drink together.
Yes.
After every rally, after whatever they do.
Yes.
The thing is, us as Kenyans, we need to see beyond this thing. And I would wish, I don't know how it can be done, but I would wish for us to know that, Kenyans should know that our watu wanatafuta kazi. They are looking for employment, and they will do anything to get this employment, including brainwashing people. They will do anything. But it's high time. I remember back in 2013, I was one of those youths who, when my preferred leader would say, go to the streets, I would go without asking any question. But right now, I've managed to interact with them, and I've gone deep into politics. And now I see the things. It's like playing with our minds. I wish all the youths in Kenya could know this. These people are people looking for employment, and after they get their employment, it's not like they'll help us anything. Some of us were interacting at the top leadership. So, at the end of the day, our lives must continue. Let us open up our eyes.
Thank you. Thank you, Tete. Tete there, yeah, a voice of the youth as well. We have Otoa Sifuna hanging on the line as well. Good morning, Otoa.
Good morning, Debarl.
Very well, thank you. Good morning.
Very well. Three points. First of all, to thank your panelists. I've had an opportunity to interact with PLO Lumumba.
Yeah, let's take two, please.
And the father while I was at Kenyatta University. Their sentiments, Debarl, are very, very much in order. This country needs nothing but peace. I will give you an example of what happened in my home county, Bungoma. When Jubilee and NASA bandwagon had an altercation, and a very innocent mother who had just gone to sell mboga on the market, the children are waiting for mama to come back, and she was killed in that fracas. It is very unfortunate, Debarl, that this country must learn from 2008 classes. I am a teacher, Debarl, you know that. And I teach a NASA student, I teach a Jubilee student, I teach an independent student. We do not see any kind of division in classroom. Our students interact very well. Where does the rain start beating us as a nation, Debarl? Finally, Debarl, this is a clarion call to Chebukati and his team at the IEBC. Chepkati, wherever you are listening, this is Authority Funa giving you free advice. This country, the 40 plus million people are looking at you. If you make any mistake and we go down the drain, it will be very unfortunate. For NASA, please, this is not the time to entangle and say tendering what. Let's have an amicable resolution to our conflict. We are remaining with less than 2 months to the election. Please, let's have the election that is peaceful. Let people go to the farms. Let them sell njugu. Let children go to school.
Thank you.
What the teacher is calling upon.
Thank you, Debarl. Thank you, Tosifuna. Right, and of course, so those are the sentiments of our viewers as well. Maybe you want to just give reactions to that very briefly before we also look at the national anthem as you're winding up as well.
Let me perhaps give my reaction and say my piece on the national anthem so that the rest can speak. One, I think the sampling that you've heard is quite clear. The Kenyans want peace. And one of the things, and I'm taking this opportunity to say it, and the Bishop talked about it, if you look at the election that have been held in the United Kingdom recently and in France, you see it is issues. The leaders go to the podium and the leaders are serious. But the Kenyan politician is in a circus. The leaders dance. I've never understood that. Amongst the Baganda, the Kabaka does not dance. The Kabaka is engaged in serious business. Is in the business of telling us about agriculture, about education, about health. Serious business. So we must stop this theater and people become presidential and they appeal to our senses, not to our emotions. Number one. The second thing, all that is encapsulated in our national anthem. And there is a sense in which His Grace, my Lord, spoke about it quite clearly. Professor Mondi and all the rest who wrote the national anthem at that time were very clear that we made a decision that God has a place in our affairs, that unity and justice are our shield and defender. And if you look at the Constitution, and I was involved in the process of making this Constitution, and the preamble particularly, I remember who said what. We debated, and my Lord was there, and I think Frank was also there. We said that in the preamble, we, the people of Kenya, it was debated, and honor those who heroically struggled. That was Gitu Wakahengeri who said that. And we did all these because we love this country, we celebrate our diversity. So, in a nutshell, what I'm saying, Kenyan politicians, you have given our country pain before. You did so in 1992, you caused pain. You caused us pain in 1997. You caused us pain in the year 2007, 2008. We want no more pain. But we are also co-authors of our own misfortune. If we treat people like gods for too long, they begin to think that they are gods. Let us tell them that they are servants, as my colleagues have said, and they'll begin to know that the privilege to serve is a privilege.
Thank you. Dr.
I am now old enough to be able to speak with confidence about where we find ourselves today. Tete, I have never met, but Tete has got it absolutely right. We have a bunch of men and women, most of them good people, who are job seekers. Let us treat them as you would treat any job seeker. Let them come to me, their employer, with respect. Let them come to me, the employer, in recognition of the fact that I could employ them or refuse to employ them, depending on their behavior. I will employ Uhuru Kenyatta, President, or Raila, President, or any other person, depending on my perception of his capacity to uphold our national anthem, not because he comes from this school or that school, that tribe or the other tribe. So the test, the ultimate test, is I want a man to be president if he can ensure that justice is our shield and defender.
Right. Thank you. Bishop, very briefly.
Very briefly, and I'll go to the second stanza.
Yes.
we are calling all the politicians, one and all Kenyans, to arise with hearts both strong and true.
Yes.
That means we must be strong to say no to falsity and say yes to the truth. And rise to serve, be our earnest endeavor. That is a beautiful, rise to serve. Go ye therefore and serve people. Let you be employed as a servant, all of us. And in fact, this is a message for all Kenyans. And our homeland of Kenya, heritage of splendor, firm may we stand to defend.
Thank you very much. Let's hear from Irene very briefly.
Yeah, thank you. Now, sampling the text also, I am excited to hear Kenyans speak. And I have gone around this country. I travel a lot. And Kenyans want peace. The majority of Kenyans want peace in this country. I have traveled around Debarl. And the few leaders that we have that are playing with our emotions, what do we do? And I have got a suggestion.
Very briefly.
I have got a suggestion, and it comes from the national anthem.
Yes.
Let us all, with one accord, in common board, united as Kenyans, build this, our nation, together. I am calling on Kenyans. I am calling on leaders, religious leaders who can lead us. I am calling on the Lumumbas and Dr. Njengas. Let us come together.
Thank you.
Let us engage our politicians. Let us remind them, we give you the jobs, you don't give us the jobs.
Thank you.
We put you there to work for us. You are not working for us. You are dividing this country, you are destroying this country, and it can be done. And that is what we call dialogue. And it is not too late. It is only 50 days, but we can have a big dialogue and summon them one by one and tell them what they are doing wrong. And we can actually change this country. You never know what God wants. You never know why we are here this morning.
Yes. To wind it up on here. I think my mic has gone off, but I would like us also to stand on ceremony so that we can actually sing the national anthem even as we're winding up the show. It's just stand on ceremony and we sing that particular national anthem. Also to remind our viewers as well that of course these are the wordings of the national anthem. Right. There you go.